the meeting to order. And let's have a roll call.
Agnes Bornarski,
Present.
Dana Syvertson,
Here.
John Comish,
Here.
Keith Hahn,
Here.
Beth Marcus,
Here.
Ed Madden's not present. I'm Jill Moscal. We have a quorum.
Okay. Let's have approval of the minutes of the board meeting of January 14th.
I make the motion that we approve the minutes that were so beautifully crafted by Jill.
I'll second that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Jill, that is such a thankless job, and you do such a great job with it. Oh my God.
Yeah.
I know.
Be applauded.
Yeah, it's a lot of work. We really appreciate that. I wanted to say before we start, before the old business, that PHNRC turned 7 years old yesterday.
Yay.
Yay.
Yeah, thank you to all of you guys. I mean,
Yeah.
this whole thing would be nothing without you guys, that's for sure. So, heartfelt thank you. And the city and the park district for all their support.
Everybody.
It's, the community's really coming on board, and it's a great thing to see. So, thank you, everyone.
I gotcha.
All right, go ahead.
Okay, old business, volunteer work days. So it's been pretty cold. We've canceled the last one, and I think we'd like to ask all of you, what do you think about this Sunday? Because it's supposed to be equally as cold, but I know a lot of other conservation groups are holding work days, so we have a nice fire. I just don't know how socially distanced we can be, but once we get out there and working and you just wear layers, I think we can do it this Sunday.
Well, if people get cold, they can leave also. I mean, we're not holding a gun to their head.
That's true. I think that we can do it, and when we go to the slough on the other side, there's sort of like a basin there that seems to protect from wind. So I think that might be a good place.
Yeah, it's been where we've had our coldest work days, is for sure. It was in that little ravine. And that's where we left off last time, so.
We're talking this Sunday, right?
Yeah.
Sunday.
Yeah, I know, 5 and 8.
Yeah.
There's Ed. Hi, Ed.
I've actually been in on the phone, but
We're putting it to you guys to see what you think.
Well, it says the high is 5.
Right.
So, I mean.
We have leg warmers. We have foot and hand warmers. There'll be a fire.
Have you gotten any feedback from the volunteers? Do they want to come out and do something?
We haven't run it by anybody yet, because we want to run it by you guys first. See what you think.
Well, I'm going to be out of town, so I won't be there. Sorry.
How likely would any of you be?
Ask Peter, because he's been out on those.
I'm asking.
Yeah, I've got to work Sunday. I had off last Sunday, and I was hoping you'd have it. But that's okay. I got to work this Sunday.
But if you were off, you would hold it, even with those cold temperatures.
I would. I'd go out there.
You're tougher than the average bear, Peter.
I know. I'll be working outside anyways. I was outside last Sunday. Better. I mean, you just dress for it.
Jill and Seth, John, Ed, what do you guys think? Yes, no, maybe?
I'm not opposed to it.
Okay. Jill?
Well, I have church, so I would be there at 10, but I think if we held maybe just for 2 hours or something, I think it would be all right.
Yeah, we can leave if it gets too cold, and we're not out in the middle of the woods somewhere where you have to,
It started later in the day when it's a touch warmer, right? What are the temps, Seth, at 9 a.m. compared to 11?
It's saying the high is 5, the high. The low is -8.
Right.
So what's your point?
Wimps, come on.
Well, the big question is the wind, because without a wind, and if it's sunny, it's actually not bad. But if there's a wind, it can be brutal.
Yeah, the area that we're thinking about is exactly where we left off, on the last workday that we actually had. And it's down in the
Not the
ravine.
last workday, the one before that.
Well, no, it's the only one we had.
No, because we were at the flew at the finger.
Oh, right, yeah, I'm sorry, it's one before. Okay, so, there's still a lot of debris there to burn that we just sort of set on top of the brush pile. So there's ample things to burn, and it's down in a ravine. It was, the site that we had, like one of the coldest work days we ever had.
It was like -11.
But we were all sweating because of the fire and being down in that little protected ravine, so I'm game.
Maybe we start later, how about 10, like 10, go 10 to 12.
Okay, that's fine with me.
That's what I would suggest. Do it 2 hours. It's a little, it'll be a degree or two more at 10. I don't know.
All right.
We'll let you know how it goes, John.
Yeah, thanks.
If Shackleton's there, I'm there.
Well, look, I mean, it's totally safe, and people can leave if it gets too cold, and we're really, we have, like I said, the toe warmers and the hand warmers, and we'll have a fire, so let's try to do it.
Okay. All right, so I'll send out the notice tonight.
Okay, great.
The Nature Preserve and McDonald Creek erosion, we met with Dino, and Dino was going to talk to Christina. Dino agreed it's a problem, not sure exactly what, we've made it very clear that it was beyond our scope of doing anything with it and that it needed professional intervention. He agreed and was going to talk to Christina, so that's where we left it. That's where we're going to leave it. So that's your update. Any questions?
Okay. Next is the Prospect Heights Public Library Park District events, Nature Speaks.
Nature Speaks, John, I'm sorry, Chris Helzer was absolutely incredible. That was the highest attendance we ever had, 109 people came in for that one. I think they've got 5 encore performances lined up, and they've changed it up so now it's you have access to the link, everybody who attended that meeting, and you can just log in on any one of the days and view it any time during the day or as many times as you want. You just have to register to do it. Chris was just really a delightful guy, and he's very interested in what we do because of the sort of more urban residential nature of what it is we do. So there's a good friend we've made and a compatriot in all this. Our next speaker is Dan Schilling, and that's part of the Earth Day festivities. And while we're talking about this, might as well discuss it right now, and then we'll just eliminate it under new business. Mary Lou Mellon, our birdwalk person, has sort of struck up a deal with the park, not the park district, the public library, and she's doing a series. Now the series, every time she does one, first of all, they're unbelievable presentations, and every time she does one, there's more people. So she's got one coming up on the islands of Belize, and then she's doing on April 29th a talk on Colombia. So that will be part of the festivities for Earth Week. So now we have those 2 talks.
Can I ask a question about that? So
Yeah.
one problem with her presentations, they're at like 1 o'clock in the afternoon on Mondays.
Right.
And I mean, I for one can like never make that. Is there any possibility of like doing those in the evening?
I don't think so. I mean, this is it's a public library function as opposed to NRC function.
Yeah.
And because Mary Lou is really part of our team, we send out the notice based on that, but it's for a completely different audience. The only thing I can tell you is that they're all recorded and they're available to watch anytime you want. She's got like a regularly occurring once a month series now. That's sort of the nature of the beast at this point. So, but all of her talks are recorded and can be watched whenever you're available.
Okay.
Okay?
Alright, next is the Prospect Heights Park District summer programs. So there's
Marcy,
any update on that?
yeah, the update is Marcy just got back to us again. They have to go to press. So I told her that we're outside of, the nature camp actually, being able to happen. We had no other ideas for her, and, we were not gonna participate any further than just doing the nature camp if that was, going to actually happen. So, nobody had any ideas about doing anything else, so we left it at that. Okay?
Okay, District 214 internships.
Go ahead.
So, there's two girls that are interested, I think we mentioned last time, and they're gonna start in March. I don't know exactly the starting date, was it March? No, sorry, May, because May.
No.
It'll be right after their spring break,
Yeah.
and because they have to be done by the end of
March
May.
31st.
March 31st they would start. And they're gonna be Wednesday mornings and Friday mornings for about 2 hours in the morning. And it's also a micro internship, so it'll be a total of 30 hours, so they can spend 1 or 2 or 3 work days with us on a Sunday, and then the rest they'll make up with their Wednesday and Friday mornings educationally.
So this is the same program that Colin and Felix did, exactly.
What time in the mornings is that?
We told them to start. Do you have a start time? Do you know?
It's over there under the papers somewhere, but you put a
8
computer
o'clock.
on top of it.
8 o'clock. We were gonna start at 7, but we decided 8 o'clock, 8 to 9:30, because now the whole, I don't know if the entire District 214, but a few of those high schools have a later start date, so they don't start until like 10 o'clock.
Did
I
you
believe
mention that,
30.
did you mention that they're also coming to our work days? Did you say that too?
Yes, we gave them the option because over that period of time, it has to be done, I think, by May 26th. Then they have 3 work days that they can attend. They can pick and choose and do 1 or 2 or all 3.
Or they
You wanna
can
do
come,
extra?
they can come to transplanting in the greenhouse program, whatever they want.
Yeah, so it's pretty open to them.
Mhm.
Really nice young girls, really excited about nature, and they want to go into the field, and they just want to sort of get their hands dirty and learn a little bit more, and so they're excited about the internship, and I am too.
Do they get class credit for that, or service hours, or what's
They get class credit for it in high school, so it's like a micro internship.
And what
Yeah,
are
the regular internship is 60 hours, and because of COVID, they've cut it to 30.
And what are their names?
Well, I knew she was gonna. I'll send it to you. Hold on, I got it.
We actually spoke with them via Zoom. We did a little interview. I can't believe I can't remember their names, but it was probably it was right after our last meeting. So we'll tell you. One of them is from Hersey, I know, and one of them is from Prospect High School, and one of them is from
Right.
Hersey. And it's just at the tip of my tongue.
You could
really.
send-
Allison,
Biawinga.
Biawinga, spelled, Biewenga,
Allison with 2 L's.
right? And Lauren Steiniger, Steininger. From our interview with them, they're both like really smart and really interested, so it's a great thing.
Yeah, maybe future interns.
Mhm. Okay.
That's that. New business, Earth Day and Earth Day activities planning session.
Well, we already briefly talked about the speakers. They're gonna book into things, so, we have a work day that's part of that, which is on, hold on. It would be the, April 18th. And then, Mary Lou's talk is on the 19th, and Dan Schilling is on 22nd, which is actually Earth Day. Weather depending, whether we have any tours or anything of that nature, it's too early to tell. So,
I think I mentioned to you my idea about the, Remnant Sedge Meadow, about having a tour there because of the, bike path, that it's always in use. And I was trying to figure out a way if we could have a tour there, because we could set up like brochure signs, so coming to you in 2 weeks or something, and as people are, because when I'm there, people are talking about the area, so I try to educate them about what's actually here. So just a thought, because we usually go to the Connet Prairie, of course the food's popular, but just wanted to throw it out there.
That's a good idea too.
Yeah, I like
Sedges are one of the first things that come up around there, so there might be things to see, and it's a really good, place to show things too about invasives and what we've been doing. That's a great idea.
great idea. All right, we'll see if we can incorporate something that makes sense to do with that.
Yeah.
Thanks, Jill, that's a good suggestion. If anybody has any other ideas at some point in time, just let us know.
So a little time before then. Okay, next is the Blue Boardwalk project. Do you wanna talk about that?
Yeah, okay, that's, well down the road. We had a minor hiccup in that, the Felix and his dad, excuse me, just got back to us, and their scout, leadership put a kibosh on it, not a kibosh, but they put a hold on it because they want to, they don't want him to do anything else until it's formally approved. But unfortunately, they can't do that approval process until after the grant application, is to be submitted.
So in April. So
Right.
he thinks that the project is gonna be approved by the scouts in April.
Right. So we asked all you guys what you thought about it. Everybody's pretty much on the same boat, and then we took that that consensus back to the Park District and to the city, and they both came back saying, yeah, go ahead and make the presentation and just reference the Scout project. So that's what we'll do. I'll start working on that presentation straight away. And so I believe we're talking about the 22nd and the 23rd of this month for presentations at the city and Park District respectively. Brief, really brief PowerPoint.
So do you want us to be there?
Yeah, and it's all Zoom, so, yeah, absolutely.
You'll send us the links or whatever?
Yeah, right. We also have,
We'll run the PowerPoint by them as well.
oh, yeah, everybody will get a chance to review the material before we do anything with it, so. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, any questions about that?
Oh, but thank you for putting it together, Dana, as always.
Yeah, it's, I mean, at this point, it's all, you know, it's, I mean, it's really just what we proposed back in 2018, when Larry, and city council had asked us to, come up with a plan to, improve access and, enjoyment of the slough, and the boardwalk was a part of that whole process, so. Joe had asked for that presentation again, so we sent that on to him. He wanted to make sure all the new aldermen had seen what we had talked about way back when, so.
And then interestingly enough, Christina sent their comprehensive Park District plan, and increasing access and increasing trails was one of the major things, especially around that area, so.
Can you
Does the
repeat?
detail about how wide it should be have to be decided at this time?
I don't think so. I don't think so at all. We had talked about, I mean, they had a little bit different idea because they were trying to economize on materials, so they were looking at 2 foot wide. In our original guesstimates of what the project might cost, I was figuring on 33 inches wide because it was an 8 foot piece of lumber divided by 3. And in talking about that with Agnes, she agrees that it should be wider rather
2
than
feet
narrower.
is very narrow, I think.
Right.
It's not even about having 2 people walking side by side, it's just about having it wide enough to be really
Comfortable.
comfortable.
Personally, I
Agnes?
think 4 feet would be preferable, but, I guess
What was that, John?
4 feet, he's saying 4
4
feet.
feet I think would be preferable, but, 'cause then you can't necessarily get two side by side. But, you know, I understand the problems with costs and materials and that.
Well,
But you could, you know, instead of taking that 8-foot board, you could split it in half and go 4 feet.
yeah, I wouldn't think that cost is, I think we can come up with that. I think it's about, for example, a stroller. Anybody have any thoughts about the width of a stroller and, things like that?
Well, this all sort of gets into the, you know, the ADA, requirements and
Right.
compliance and stuff. And, you know, the way it's all written and the research we did on it way back then was, because it's a nature trail and it's governed by the terrain, it really falls outside of the
ADA compliant.
ADA compliance.
And as long as there's an accessible way to the area, so like people can access it on the sidewalk, you know, around the area, they can walk along the street, or, so they don't necessarily need to take that trail path. But I'll tell you that people have taken strollers on the path that is currently there.
Right. That's why I understand that it doesn't have to be ADA, I get that, but strollers, you know, are a different issue. And I've seen people with strollers there, and, it would be, you know, unfortunate if the boardwalk makes them not come when they're.
Oh, that 33 inches would accommodate that. I'm not sure that 24 though would.
Yeah, I wouldn't.
24 would be tight.
Yeah, I
I'm
don't
just
think
wondering-
24 doesn't.
I don't know in terms of, you know, making it versus sort of comfortably making it, you know.
Yeah.
Is comfortable for a
It's
stroller?
easy enough to look at all these things. I mean, there's standards, you know, I can, certainly look it all up real quickly and get back to everybody. John, I'll take a look at what the cost increase would be going from, 33 inches to 48. And I'll run it all by all you guys, and you can.
I mean, if, you know, later on at home, take your tape measure and see how wide, you know, 33 and 40, I mean, it's not that wide. What's the bridge? Is that 18 inches?
There's 33.
No, the bridge is 24.
Bridge is 24, and that's because it was based on the ladder that was underneath it that we just scabbed onto.
Yeah, so that's pretty narrow.
Yeah. Sure is. Yeah, I mean, an easy visual of the yardstick, you know, yardstick's 36. You know.
Right.
Right.
But a yardstick's pretty long. I mean,
All right,
I don't know.
I'll take a look at it and send you some information.
Maybe we can take some pictures or something and see what that would be, and maybe lay out like some kind of piece of plywood or something just to visualize it too.
Mhm.
I think would be good.
Agnes, could you please repeat what you said about Christina? I didn't quite hear it. You said that she sent us something? What was it that?
Well, it was just in an email. She was just we were just going back and forth about the presentation, and she said that this project would well, their park district comprehensive plan actually involves increasing public use and access and trail systems, so that this project would go hand in hand with their comprehensive park district plan,
Okay, thank you.
which is a positive thing. So when we present this, we should include that.
We need to send them the PDF that,
Okay, we'll send you the PDFs that Christina sent us of their comprehensive plan.
And one factor that I would add too is that, and again, I understand costs are definitely an issue, but the wider it is, the safer it is. And so, from that perspective, you know, I agree with John. If we could do it, all the better. But yeah, the 2 feet, I don't think that would be very advisable.
Too narrow.
all right, I'll take it. I mean, Graphic Standards has all the sort of nominal measurements for strollers. It's pretty easy to ascertain what's what, so.
We can take a look
I'll
back
take a look
too
at
at pictures pictures, and we should have measured when we went up to different sites too, but what other sites use, what sort of measurements. We can ask around too, ask different sites that have, and see what widths they've used in their chill systems. Okay, good. Next, the Wheeling High School Prairie updates. Is Seth any updates?
Oh, you
Oh, you
guys-
weren't there at the meeting, you guys did, yeah, sorry.
John and I were at the meeting. John, why don't you do it?
Sure. So we had a discussion, Dana and I had a Zoom meeting with the Wheeling High School principal and the teacher, and then the grounds people. And so we're kind of on hold again because they're planning some construction in the area that would be right in the area on the north side of the building that would where the proposed prairie would go. So it's kind of been tabled until that's done, and then the grounds folks, they're concerned about manpower and managing it, and you know, if it falls into their lap rather than the students' lap and all this stuff, it's going to be too much for them. It's basically down to one or two people over there who maintain the grounds around there, and so they're spread kind of thin. So it's kind of tabled right now until they figure out this construction thing, and when that's done, and that's going to happen. Was this summer? Was that correct, Dana?
Yeah, the project is that they're renovating parking lots, and so they have to switch one parking lot for another one, and they're concerned about where does all the material get staged, access through the construction site, all the rest of that stuff. So they were just unsure what the ramifications were about putting the prairie where we were talking about doing it, vis-a-vis the logistics of doing this parking lot. So it's on hold.
Yeah.
And I think we should just say in sort of this public forum that there are concerns about time managing it. From what I understand, we've tried to alleviate their concerns by saying that, you know, once it's up and running, prairies often have very little upkeep time, and that we would make, for example, the path just, you know, one lawnmower's width through to make it. In other words, we're addressing their concerns about upkeep.
Yeah, we
reiterated all that, and you know, told them what to expect in the first year, second year, third year, and then beyond, and you know.
We also pointed out that the ultimately the goal of the plan is to have this be sustainable by the students, and hopefully you would get students in the first year that would marry up to the project and go all the way through the 4, and that becomes like a feeder for internships, for volunteers for the NRC, and the groundskeeper guy, or no, the principal, was sort of concerned about student attention span and whether or not that was realistic. So that's where we left it.
We suggested starting smaller and then increasing the size and all that, but pretty much, you know, this construction, this reconfiguring the parking lots and all that kind of took precedent over anything.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, Agnes advocated heavily before the meeting to reduce the size of the footprint of the prairie, just to simplify it for everybody, and they were on board with that. So, and just, you know, as it proves out that it can be sustainable, then you could increase it as you go.
You know, it might be a good idea to look at, you know, when they're going to do the parking lot work. Some of those islands or curb areas, they could put in some low maintenance prairie plants like drop seed. They did a project like that at Rolling Meadows, and unfortunately they put in just daylilies and things like that. So maybe that's an opportunity, you know, on a small scale, to put in some prairie plants around the parking lot.
It's a good idea, Peter.
A good thought, yeah.
Okay. We're gonna follow up with Medea, right?
Mhm.
About-
Go ahead.
Okay, so next is the seed and greenhouse program, but I think we should, just mention briefly about ComEd. ComEd and the ComEd Prairie, I think you forwarded the email about it.
I did, yeah. And,
Mentioned that.
their intention is to go out there with the brush hog and
Stantec
Stantec,
from ComEd.
and they're going to run the brush hog outside of the high tension wires, and then another crew later in the season will go underneath the high tension wires. So they were looking to start that some point in time. I don't know how they do it under 2 foot of snow,
That's what I was wondering.
but they
It's a
must,
brush hog.
they have to know what they're doing, so I would defer to that.
Okay.
But it's really good that they're doing it when the ground is frozen to
Mhm.
minimize disturbance.
Well, that was their whole point.
What exactly is a brush hog?
It's this big motorized vehicle that just comes in and just basically rips the top off of, it could take down several inch diameter
Mhm.
trees and shrubs.
Yeah, I
It
think I've
just
seen
rips
it.
it.
It's pretty destructive, right?
Very destructive.
Yeah, I've seen the footprint of those things. Okay.
And as long as it's destructive above ground to the brush, that's okay.
Yeah.
But very frequently, what happens if you use it in the summer, I mean, that's a motorized vehicle, it just disturbs the soil and rips everything up, and then you have weeds, and it's just a big mess. So when the ground is frozen, that's absolutely the best time to do it, to come through. And the only thing that we have to think about is to follow it up with some herbicide application on those stumps, because if they run that brush hog through, you know, next year, all that stuff is gonna come back if it's not herbicided.
Right, and that's why you saw in the budget proposal, the increase in the amount of herbicide that kicked the budget back up, those numbers. So,
Well, if we do go ahead and go to the prairie and do that, it's gonna use up a little bit of herbicide.
So they're planning on brush hogging from where to where?
they're planning on brush hogging the
The remnant prairie,
Remnant Prairie.
all the way down, but they're gonna do half, and then ComEd vegetation management crew is gonna do the other side, right underneath the wires.
Right, they're gonna do on the outer perimeters of the wires. So if you look up, if you're standing on the tension wires, everything to the right and the left of where the wires are, they're gonna take care of that. Stantec will.
It's starting at Camp McDonald Road?
No, starting at,
What is that road? It's not Camp McDonald.
no, well, the other road, starting at the ComEd substation,
It would actually be Palatine.
going to
They're
Palatine.
not even gonna go as far as Palatine.
So we're talking about the remnant prairie.
Okay, and they're gonna go Palatine North.
Yeah, but I don't think they're gonna start at Palatine. They're gonna start right where it just dips in there, right
They're gonna
by
start at the fence at the substation and
Mhm.
work south.
to work south.
How far south they're gonna go, it's undetermined.
But they're gonna stop north of Palatine.
Probably, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you recall there, that's right where that ends at Palatine is where we collect, the Cytos Gamma,
grandma.
and that's where the underpass is at Palatine Road, and the
Overpass.
bike path goes over the top of it.
Mhm.
So they're not gonna go any further south than that, but I seriously doubt they're gonna go,
All the way.
even to the parking lot at, where we always park.
And let me ask you a bold question. In our like 10 or 20-year plan, do we have any dream of connecting the prairie to the sedge meadow?
Oh, the work involved in that would be another 10 years, I feel.
Because I mean, that's all a brush hog. It'd be great if a brush hog took all that stuff down.
You're also looking at a lot of herbaceous degradation and teasel and just so much. I mean, it's years and years of work to bring that back. You know, there's a chance with the remnant prairie and the remnant sedge meadow, but between those areas, it's just all invasives that have been there for
No, I
30
mean,
years.
you need a brush hog. in order to deal with it.
Yeah, I'd say
You know,
it's,
big workforce too.
it's way over our head at this point.
I think the main part there is the teasel between the two. There's so much teasel there.
Giant fields of it there, yeah.
Field, it's just like an endless teasel patch. And to eliminate that, oh my gosh, I mean, it took us 5 years to eliminate it from the remnant prairie and the remnant sedge meadow. And to just even think of all of that work, I'm not sure it's, I don't know. A lot of work. But yes, in a dream, it would be, yeah, of course. It would be, to connect the corridors would be a dream. Oh, anyway, so about the seed list, I do have some updates about our seed greenhouse program. So we have everybody tucked away underneath the snow, and we have 78 species growing in pots. And some of those are Poplar Creek species. A lot of those are species that we collected. And then I personally purchased some, and then we also purchased some for the Pollinator Park project, which are also growing in their trays, in addition to having been put into some of the mixes that we've made. And so altogether, so those are just growing in pots, the 78 species. We have collected cohesively 52 species that we collected over our time, collected and that's a total, well, actually collected and purchased. So we had a total of 147 pounds, but about 60 pounds of that was purchased for the Pollinator Park project. So a lot of little blue stem, some seed filler, other things. But we collected almost 90 pounds of seeds this year, which is still a lot.
Amazing.
Yeah, considering the restrictions we had, it's amazing.
Right. Yeah, so that's.
I think Peter probably collected about 35 pounds of that by himself.
Right, Peter collected a third of it.
Easily.
Yeah. So we have, most of that, probably about 70% has been already spread out, has been sown, or it's in pots. We just have a little bit left, about maybe 30 pounds left. And I'm just waiting for the right time, and I'm holding on to some in certain areas after a burn.
We put down how many pounds at the Pollinator Park?
Oh, I don't have that number.
A lot.
A lot of pounds at the Pollinator Park. I mean, I have the number in a spreadsheet, I just don't have it with me.
What did you guys think about Chris Helzer's comments about burning and potentially overburning? Are we necessarily maybe trying to burn too often?
Well, considering we haven't burned in what, 4 seasons now?
It doesn't want to burn, maybe probably because it can't burn. There's not enough fuel or the conditions.
It can't burn, which is fine. And patchy burns typically are good because you don't want to burn everything off. You don't want to have 100% burn where everything is burned off. And the forest preserves do that too. And we've never accomplished 100% burn anywhere. So we're pretty good on that. I don't think we have to worry. Like if we get to the point where we have so much fuel and such good weather conditions, then we should definitely consider only burning like half of the slopes or half of the prairie. But for now, it's been so patchy that there's plenty of habitat left. You know, we're trying to actually get stuff to burn. So, but that's definitely up there in conservation to leave habitat patches, to leave those stems, to leave those larval insects in the stems. So on the one hand, you know, we get upset sometimes that things won't burn, but on the other hand, it's probably a good thing, and maybe it didn't burn for a reason that year too.
Right.
You know, we've had a really cold freeze right now, and you know, nature is nature, so nature didn't allow it to burn, and all of those stems now have a lot of larvae hanging out, and hopefully can, you know, being warm underneath the snow.
Right.
Okay.
Okay, that's my update for the seed greenhouse program. And then we'll start putting things into the greenhouse first week of March.
Yeah, that brings to mind that we have to go back to zone planning and zoning and re-up the permit.
Right.
But it's not the same complex, crazy thing we did last time. Apparently it's more like it's a phone call. and, maybe filling out paperwork. So that's gotta be started right away.
Actually, I put it on the list,
I'll put it on the list right now.
'cause I'm not sure if we have to go before, we don't have to go before the
No, we don't have
ZBA,
to present it all. Okay, budget talk. Everybody got the budget? The proposed budget, the cover letter, any discussion about it? If there isn't any, then we should probably approve it so we can get it to Peter to get on the agenda for the 11th or the 22nd. I guess it would be the 22nd.
I approve it.
I second.
All in
There
favor?
you go.
Do we need to get a roll call or?
Yeah, we should do roll call probably. Let's do roll call for this.
Okay, we're taking a roll call for approval of our budget submission. Agnes Varnarski,
Aye.
Dana Peterson,
Yes.
John Camish,
Yes.
Peter Hahn,
Yes?
Ed Madden,
Ed?
Nadia
Aye.
West. Yes. Okay, Seth Marcus,
Yes.
thank you, Ed. Seth Marcus
Yes.
and Jill Moscow say yes, have all approved.
All right, I will send, those documents on to Peter as soon as we're done with the meeting tonight. Treasurer report, John?
Nothing new. Same as last month. No new money in, no new money out, no money out.
Okay.
City civic meetings and PHNRC representation.
Just two comments. Danielle Dash will be running for Alderman Ward 4 election in April. And the Prospect Heights Park District Board, as of March 1st, will have 2 vacancies. One of their board members has moved to Florida.
Who's running for alderman for,
Danielle Dash, she's in her mid-40s, lifelong Prospect Heights resident, married with 2 children. She was on the zoning board for, I want to say, if memory serves, about 10 years.
Yeah, she's the chairperson of the zoning board.
Yeah, I really like her. I'm so happy that I have someone in my ward now.
I think the guy that's running against her is, what's his name?
I can't remember it.
You know him, come on.
I do, he's my sister.
It's Marush Folta. He goes by Mark Folta.
That's right, Mariusz Bosta, right.
Right, and so he's a Prospect Heights resident as well. He's an accountant, tax guy, and that's all we know about it, so.
Danielle comes from she's in the construction industry, right, or something like that?
Yes, she has an civil engineering degree from U of I. And she has a minor in soil, something with soil.
soil destruction?
So, servants.
No, not those.
Okay.
Okay, great.
Any announcements to the public? Okay. Visitor comments?
No visitors?
No visitors.
I motion we adjourn.
A second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I